Big news out of the NFL. They filed an appeal to Deshaun Watson's 6-game suspension that was recommended by former Judge Sue Robinson. Now, the Players Union has 2 days to respond in writing to the appeal. Roger Goodell has the power to decide who will make the final decision in this matter. He can choose himself. Okay, well, I hate that I'm saying this, but I'm actually kind of surprised that they appealed this just based off of how they've handled situations in the past. I don't think they're undermining the judge, but this was the opportunity to make things right. And I'm glad that they are taking a step back here and they're like, you know what, maybe we should look more into this and do the right thing, because I feel like they haven't taken that route in years past.
Yeah, Roger Goodell did what a lot of us were doing over the last couple of days, and he got on his cell phone, he started reading the tweets, and he realized that this is really bad PR. 6 games for what Deshaun Watson did doesn't feel like an equitable suspension, and it doesn't really even hit his pockets, especially the way that the Browns structured his contract. So you got to go back and reevaluate what you're doing. Now, there's a question to be asked about why do you even have an independent arbitrator to begin with if the NFL can have the final say on an appeal anyway? That's a legitimate question, but I don't think that Judge Robinson got it right in the first place, so this is the right thing to do. Now, Deshaun Watson's camp is going to probably want to sue, and there's the situation very similar that happened a few years ago with Ezekiel Elliott. He got into a domestic squabble that didn't result in any charges, and he was suspended for 6 games. So he went and appealed. The appeal was upheld. They went to the courts. The courts put an injunction there. He got an indefinite hold on the suspension. Then he went back with the team. Then the court said, no, the suspension's good. So they did it again, appealed to another court, went back to the team. The court said, nah, he's suspended. So he had to leave the team. And basically what you got out of there is the fact that the court system believes that this is clearly defined in the CBA, so they don't want to meddle in these situations. So there is legal precedent on this. But for me, I'm glad this is happening because the NFL recommended a full season suspension to begin with. I'm not even sure that's strong enough, but it'd be a great place to start.
I think for me, you look at it and you say, look, they wanted to suspend him for a full season. And you look at the situation in the history of the NFL when it comes to women, whether that's players and domestic violence, whether that's the situation with Greg Hardy a few years ago and what that brought to the NFL, to what is going on in Washington constantly with the Washington Commanders. It was an opportunity for them to do what was right. You know, it's a situation where you want to believe that right is right. But too many times when it comes to the NFL, that's not the case. And I think people forget all the time. I think people think it's who's watching the NFL? Men, right?
There's a lot of female fans out there.
There's a lot of female friends
spending money
that are out there that want to think that the teams that they like to. We talked to Maggie Hendricks.
Yes.
Like, that people in the NFL are going to do the right thing and do right by their fans, all their fans. Because me, as a man who loves the NFL, I want to see the NFL do what is right, but too many times we don't see that.
Well, and that's why I said representation is so important. Now that you have women holding front office positions, coaching positions, their voices are heard. And Roger Goodell is looking at this and is like, okay, well, how can we let these women know that we are supporting them and that we want to do what's right? It could have been the easiest thing just to let the 6-game suspension stand, but I'm glad that they're making a step in the right direction.